So here we are with Katie Valentine. We're in her cottage in Port Stanley. And Katie, thanks for taking time just a few days before you go back to Calgary.
You're very welcome, Nora.
Yeah.
We're so lucky for you to be able to do this for
Thanks,
us.
David.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the history of this cottage before your family had it. Do you remember, when it was built? And I know it was built for an unusual use.
It was. As far as I know, it was built in 1891 by the contractor, the family firm of Ellison, which built other things in Port Stanley, I believe Christ Church and maybe the Fraser House. It was built for the London Y ladies.
The YW.
Yeah, YWCA for a ladies' camp. And it was run out of London, Ontario.
Just for ladies, though. Did they switch back and forth?
No,
No, just for ladies. Okay.
And
Because it was the YW, Young
yeah,
Women's.
But
yeah.
sometimes
they named it Summer Home with an E on the end. And it was owned by the London Y for 50 years. So, no, 60 years.
So did
60.
your parents buy it straight from the London YWCA?
They did buy it from them. Now, we were told that this site was a pear orchard because Orchard Beach, the name Orchard, it was a farm. And as far as I know, an apple orchard out towards the water. But this lot apparently had a pear orchard on it. And there's so many people talk about Orchard Beach and the development of it, but as far as I remember, people saying it was farmland, and that the original farmhouse was on Edward Street. It's been taken down now, but it was where Sharon and Peter lived.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did the YWCA use it? Like, did the girls come down?
It was for business girls, and they came down in the summer. There was no running water. There was a pump at the back, and there were outhouses. No electricity. It was really a large barn of a place. Porches on three sides. So the porches went around the west and the east and the south side, up and down.
So where we're sitting in is a glassed-in room. Would it have
This
been
was
a
a
porch
bit of
at one
veranda,
time?
an open veranda.
Wow.
So were they able to cook here and prepare foods?
Yes, the kitchen ran across the back. It was a lean-to at the back, and I'm sure they had a cook that they hired. I was at the museum last week, and Mike Baker brought down an advertisement for Summer Home, and it was for 1950. And Dad and Mom bought this place October 51, so it was probably just at the very end of it being a girl's.
So the advertisement was for the.
Was for young ladies, business girls, and I can remember as a little girl coming down to visit my great grandparents who had a cottage very nearby, and I saw the girls lying out on the lawn with their towels, and it looked like they were having a good time. When this place was built, it was not on the water. The cottages were out in front. There was the road out Edward Street ran in front of the cottage and around to the east side and joined up with Oak Street.
Now, can you remember the road being there?
Yes.
Wow.
It was there when Dad bought the cottage, and he waited. In fact, I remember traveling on the road to go to visit my great-grandparents who were down on Edward. But Dad was approached by Mr. Moore in London, who was the president of the Y in the 50s, And he asked Dad if he knew of anyone in St. Thomas that might be interested in
Buying.
buying it.
Purchasing.
And we had stayed the year before at Alma Villa when it was a hotel, and we loved it. It was great, and my mother had a history of being here with her parents and grandparents. Loved it here, and they had tried going north of Muskoka, and both parents felt it was too far.
Well, your dad's business was in St. Thomas.
It
so,
really was,
yeah,
and Mother didn't want to be stuck up in the north with a young family and on an island or whatever. And so this seemed like the perfect solution. And Dad purchased it in the fall of October 1951, and he waited one winter and let the road fall in the lake.
Was it collapsing in 51?
Yeah, it was at that time.
That was Hurricane Hazel that took over.
No, it was collapsing at that time because there had been a row of cottages out in front, and those cottages had already been moved back behind.
So Hurricane Hazel probably finished it off.
The cottages behind on Oak Street, and some are all from out front. And some of the cottages along here are original lakefront cottages, but not all of them. And anyway, so when we first came to look at it, it was just really very, very bare. The dining room had been over on the west side, and this side was just a sitting area, and then the larger room for gatherings. And my uncle came with us. He was an architect at St. Thomas.
This is Mr. Morley?
Yes, yeah. My mother's brother. And he saw possibilities and talked to Mom and Dad about it, and it was purchased for very little money. And
with a lot of money in the day.
I don't think it was. I think it was
a good
around.
deal.
I think it was between $2,000 and $3,000, which doesn't seem like very much.
Doesn't seem much today.
No.
And they probably put quite a bit into making changes.
They had to put partitions in, and Mother was very afraid of fire, so she wanted us all to sleep downstairs. They made the dining room became their bedroom, and they moved the windows from the dining room over here. So these windows were face the lake now, and they partitioned the upstairs. The girls would have slept in cots upstairs
in a big dormitory
in
style.
a big, and there were curtains across. There's a picture of I guess. We could take it off.
I don't know if it'll show up on here,
it
but
might
we'll show
not.
it later.
You
Yeah,
can
we can
see
work it
the
in.
curtains that were pulled across the porch. So I have Heritage, at one of the Heritage Port meetings, someone presented me with a newspaper clipping about this place, and it gives all the history of when and who ran it, and of the first 60 years. And then our family owned it for the rest.
So you were a little girl when your parents bought
I think
it.
I was about 10.
Wow.
And you must have lots of memories then of summer. Tell us how you spent the summer here and who you played with and all that.
North. Well, in those days, the families came from St. Thomas and London. So, and there were lots of us. And some went to camp, maybe for a couple of weeks or a month, but mostly we spent the summers here. And the mothers seemed to do their work in the mornings, and so the kids had to find things to do. And then in the afternoons, we all went to the beach. And in those days, there were the 2 groins over in front of the Edward Street cottages. And so we suntanned on the piers, And of course the mothers were visited and were very vigilant about watching us in the water. And that we would come up about 5 o'clock, and that was the routine every day. And during the mornings, we played games. Mother was very anxious that we be occupied, so she thought up things for us to do.
Little jobs?
Yeah.
Chores or just
Well,
games?
there'd be badminton, or
Okay.
there would be croquet, and my brother had a pony that he kept up on the back road, which was Kitchener Street now, or Harrison, we called it the back road. And then in the old days, it was a tradition of Orchard Beach to have a garden party to raise money for the Anglican Church. And it was held over at Miss Cook's cottage, which is now owned by David and Marlene Harvey. And it was every summer, usually in August. And all of Orchard Beach contributed to it. And at some point, Miss Cook must have decided it was too much for her. So Mom thought maybe we could start it up again, and that the kids would do it.
Here.
Yeah, that we'd do it. So she sort of organized this. She'd tell us that now you have to get your signs out, and you have to go around the neighborhood and ask for baked goods for the bake table, and old things for the white elephant table, jigsaw puzzles and old thing, plants. Then there had to be a fish pond and pony rides, and yeah, I
That
don't
was too
know.
much for your mom.
Sounds like a lot of fun, though.
She'd tell us to go out and do it, and we did it all. And so we set a date, and we had it, and we invited the minister from the Anglican Church over and told him that the donations would go to the church. And I believe we raised about $100. And we, it was enough. The woman who was renting the cottage across the road thought it was so wonderful that these children had done this, that she gave the rest of the money for the down payment on the furnace, the new furnace for the church.
That's inspiring.
Yeah. So, and then we had some plays. We put plays on the front veranda and invited the neighborhood to come and watch our plays. And the money that made, we actually, I believe they bought a Bible for the church and a couple of other things. So that was kept us
A
busy.
beautiful community achievement.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then she organized us. We had a dress up party. All the children, and there were a lot of us. I mean, there might have been 50, and all ages, from the little ones in strollers right up to the teens. Wow. We dressed up and had a dress up party on the front lawn. It was
so this
fun.
wasn't just one event. This was several.
Well, man, yeah, Mom. Well, she just didn't want us to get into trouble.
It's kept you busy.
Yeah.
And so you did this for several years.
Well, I think we did the garden party a couple of times, yes, and yeah. So we all became good friends, and those friendships continued.
Are some of them still along here? Some of your people that
Well,
you
it's
knew?
interesting when you go to a party. It's a wonderful feeling because we all grew up together mostly, maybe not now as much, but for most of the time, the last years it's changed a bit, but because people are now living here full time. But in those days, the cottages were closed up for the winter and people went home. But when you go out to an event, you realize that the people that you're standing with, you knew their siblings, you knew their parents, and
There were some connections there.
Yeah, in some cases their grandparents. Yeah, so you feel like your family.
Yeah. And did you were down all summer? You didn't move back into town partway through?
We came after school,
Yeah.
And we went back after Labor Day.
Yeah.
And the cottages, ours was closed up. They were mostly boarded up in those days. And
And your dad probably went back and forth into St. Thomas every day.
he did, and he was, he was a golfer, so he
He was.
he left work early and golfed nearly every day, and then he'd be
Would
here
he
for
use
dinner.
would he come back and forth on the train, or would he have
No,
his?
in those days he was driving. Yeah,
car,
no, yeah.
Do you remember when people took the train? Or
You
is that
know,
before your time, Katie?
No, I think, I do remember the LMPS. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. But I think it was at the tail end of
Yeah.
the time when I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still going. My grandparents' farm was near White Station.
Mm.
And I remember visiting them as a child, and grandfather going at 4 o'clock down to get the mail at the station
the
at
train.
White Station.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Would you visit them by train, or would you?
Oh, no, I didn't. No, by
But the
car.
train was still running then, and
Oh,
dropping off the mail, and
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry I don't have that memory.
I think it stopped late 50s sometime.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd remember it, but
Not, yeah,
it stopped because cars took over.
of course.
So your
yes.
family had a car, so why not use
Yes.
the car?
Yes. I know it was a large part of people's lives, though, in the earlier days. Huge. That's how they got into London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've shared some great childhood memories here. You've probably got the longest commute to your cottage of anybody because you live in Calgary.
Mm.
What keeps you coming back every summer?
I thought about that question.
We're glad you do, by the way.
Well, when Mother and Father passed away, they left this cottage to my siblings and me. And we had happy memories here, and we had talked to them about that, and so it continued on to be a part of our lives. And for me, living in the West, the East, I'm an Easterner, and I always will be. And my roots are here, and I feel that when I come back, I'm walking on the bones of my ancestors. I'm interested in history. I've always loved history, and if you live, well, Nora, because you've lived out west, but it's a very different climate here. We love the opportunity to be on the lake. Mm-hmm. The seasons here are defined. The seasons out west are mostly just winter and a bit of summer. About 8 months of winter. And it's very beautiful out west, but I feel that I'm rooted here.
Yeah, you're connected to this deeply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm happy that my husband has enjoyed it and loves coming.
Well, thanks for sharing some of these stories today. And do you have anything else you want to add before I stop the camera?
I think
we can try again next year if you think of some things that you left out.
I have one question, and that goes right back to where you started. And at the Y, it was for women, and it was business girls. What would be a business girl?
Well,
like
David, they were working women.
Working women.
And in those days, that was more unusual, eh?
This was a holiday for them. And it may have been that they were not married. And perhaps they even lived, well, it was a real holiday for them. They might come for a week or 2 weeks. Yes, they were.
Working in an office, probably.
In the offices, yeah. They could have been school teachers.
They weren't married, so they didn't have an opportunity to go somewhere with their husband.
A lot of women had to stop working when they got married in those days.
Mm-hmm. And you must remember there were 2 wars. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, some of them would have lost their fiancés or
They
whatever
would've-
in the war,
yeah,
or their
they
husbands.
could have, yeah.
So
And
these aren't girls necessarily. They were
I think they were young women. I
Young women, yeah.
do believe that they were young. I would say probably they might have been in their early 20s, late teens, early 20s. Yeah.
And I wonder if things shifted as you know the culture changed, that they could do other things with their summers on their own. And at one time, it was a very safe place to come to.
By the 50s, they didn't need a retreat like this, maybe. Yeah.
No, it was interesting because on the little form that Mike Baker produced, they could come here and stay for $1 a night, or they could stay. It cost, I believe, $17.50 for the week. Dinner was 85 cents, and lunch was 65 cents.
And that was their holiday. That was
Yeah.
their vacation.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
be by the lake or near the lake. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Very nice.
Well, great memories, and great the way your family continued using this place in a different way, but still taking full advantage of the location.
Yes.
Well, it's so nice that you are still here and can share that with us, because
Yes.
had you given up on it, or the rest of your family given up on it, we would have lost that history.
Yeah. Well, my great grandfather Smith was here in the very early days, and at one point when I was young, 3 of my grandmother's siblings had cottages here, and so it was a family place too. Lots of cousins and aunts and uncles, so it that was great too. All gone, mostly gone now.
But you've got the memories.
Yes,
You've got-
that's true.
And that's it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Well,
Thank you.